Good evening, Bots and Books fans. This is Scorp1701, and tonight I present to you not only a fine collectible, but also a tribute to a man who touched all of our childhoods. A man that to a whole generation of kids and people alike was the Batman. Kevin Conroy, the definitive voice of Batman, passed away on Thursday, November 10th, 2022. But the legacy he left behind will carry on through years to come. Join me after the review for a brief time to remember this legend of a dark knight. But for now, the show must go on, so let's begin. Tonight, we'll be looking at the Target exclusive Batman the Animated Series 30th Anniversary box set. This is a McFarlane Gold Label collectible, and it was first available on the Target Haulathon this summer that you could get online, and it eventually made its way to the Target shelves. And when it came out, I did find it in stores, but I really had no intention of picking it up. It was a very cool box set, and we're going to get into it, but it was reusing a sculpt of Batman that Todd had put out twice before in the Multiverse line, once in the black colors and then once in blue. I just didn't like the sculpt, so I was just going to leave it on the shelf. But with things being as they are, and the passing of Kevin Conroy, I decided that this would be the perfect item that I could use to pay tribute to such a great man. So I picked it up, and now let's take a look at it. Starting with the box. The box is huge. It covers almost all of my review station. You have the gold label here, like we pointed out. So you see Batman in the box there. You have press for lights, and I'm not going to do that. I'll wait for the big reveal. You have Batman the Animated Series. You have 12+, you have DC Direct, and Todd McFarlane Toys. On the top of the box, you have McFarlane Toys, Batman the Animated Series 30th Anniversary, DC Direct, McFarlane Toys. On the side of the box, it is huge, so I'm going to have to back up just a little bit. You have Batman the Animated Series, DC Direct, McFarlane Toys, and it says Batman. On the other side of the box, if we turn it there, you just have DC Direct, Batman the Animated Series, and McFarlane Toys at the bottom. So that is cool. Coming around to the bottom of the box, you have a whole bunch of instructions and credits for the box and a barcode. It tells you how to change out the batteries if you're so inclined to do so, and when you need to do so. And finally, we will come to the back of the box, and we will see the awesome product shot of Batman there, and the buildings behind him, the lightning effects, DC Direct, some credits for the box here, and you have Batman the Animated Series logo there, and it says Lightning Lights Up 12+. Yay! Lightning Lights Up. That's a bit redundant, I think, but anyway, that is the box for this awesome figure. No one wants to see him in the box. I know I don't. So let's get the Dark Knight out and see how cool he really is. And here we have Batman out of the box, and in the box he comes with a huge display stand. He comes with a small display stand. He comes with a collector's card. He comes with a set of alternate hands. He comes with a grapnel. He comes with a batarang, and he comes with himself. And out of the box he stands at approximately 7.5 inches tall, and that is a big boy. So we'll take a look at the accessories in just a minute, but first off, I want to take a look at the Bat himself. And coming real close in on this Batman, this is a more definitive version of the animated series Batman than we got with the last two releases of this figure. I think the first one we had was all black, and he did have, the same mold and sculpt, but the apps were just black, and the gloves were black, the cape was black, the cowl was black. Then they released another one which was blue, and that nowhere near looked like the animated series one. But this particular one is changed slightly in the fact that it does have some blue tune marks added to the cowl, the cape, the gloves, the boots, and the shorts. So I think this really gives it that animated series feel, and I love that. All right, so I'm going to try to get a little closer on this guy's head so we can do our usual once over. So taking a look at the head is very nicely done. I love the long ears. All the Batmans I have to have long ears. I hate the little stubby-eared Batman. You do have that blue tune mark like I was referring to right here at the top of the cowl. That is really nice. I like that. The eyes, they are white. I really hate the fact that they're set so far back in the head. I wish they were more prominent on the cowl and just maybe painted on with a little bit of indentation. The mouth, very small, very subtle, but it's there. Huge chin, which is good. That's basically how he looked in the animation. And you do have some nice tune marks here at the top of the cape. I like that. That is awesome. Coming around to the back of the cape, you can see that it is molded. Actually, you can't see. Let me zoom out as soon as I can. And you can see it is just molded to go off to the side. It cannot go straight down because that's not how it's designed. So it's going to have to stay out there, and I don't mind that at all. And the inside of the cape is a nice dark blue, which is very good and indicative of the animated series. Coming down to his suit, all gray, you got the beautiful yellow and black bat symbol. I love the bat symbols with the circle behind the bat. And then coming down, you have the gloves, which are black, but you have the blue highlights. I love that. You see that on the gloves. You have the bat gauntlet spikes. I like that. Very predominant there on both sides. More blue over here. And you have the utility belt. And it is all yellow, and you got some pouches picked out in the design, and it goes all around to the back. A lot of coolness there. Shorts here are black. You do have some of that blue tune mark here. Coming down to the gray legs and the black boots with the tune marks on the side with the blue highlights. I love that. I love the way this figure looks. The thing I don't particularly love about this figure is the weight distribution and the different sizes of the chest being really huge and the legs being tiny. It does make it problematic for it to stand. That and the huge cape that's kind of pushing it off to one side. But then again, I have to admit that that was how the animation was done, and this is still a beautiful figure. So the more I play with it, the more I'm kind of changing my mind on the fact that maybe I should have gotten this a long time ago. But this one still, in my opinion, looks a lot better than the previous two. All right, moving on. And for our articulation, starting at the head. Now the head isn't your normal on top of a ball joint as much as it is coming from the back of the head. And then what I mean by that is it's not officially round, okay? So when you do the head rotation, you can go around 360 degrees, but that's more or less the face just going around 360 degrees, which is kind of weird, but that's how it sits. And he can look left, and he can look right, and he could look down, and he could look up, and he does have some wiggly wobbly in his head. It's just really weird how it sits on the neck joint, so that is kind of cool, though. All right, then you have his cape. His cape is malleable, so, you know, it can move a little bit, but nothing to the point where you can set it in different poses or anything. And it does hinder the shoulder articulation a little bit, so you'll have to move it around to get to the shoulder. But when you do, the shoulder will come out from the body like such, and it will go back down, and it can go around 360 degrees. Now, it is kind of built into the body, so it looks like it would like hinge forward and backward on like a butterfly, but it doesn't really work that well. So anyway, coming down, you do have a bicep rotation going around 360 degrees, and that will take you down to the elbow bend, and it's almost like the elbow bend is built into the arm, and that is really neat. So you can bend that up, and it's really tight. He's got a really tight elbow bend. So there you go with that. Not exactly 90 degrees. Well, it is 90 degrees, I suppose. And then we'll bring that back down. There is no forearm rotation, but you will go down to the fist, and the fist is on a ball joint, so it can go around 360 degrees, and it can hinge wherever the ball joint is. So if you got the ball joint peg going up and down, it go up and down. If you twist the ball joint to the left and right, it will go left and right. So that is cool. Coming to the midsection, he does have ab articulation. It can kind of look down, it can go up, it can go left and right, and there is a 360 degree point at the abs that will take you around. And that is not to mention the waist articulation, which is also a separate piece that will take you around 360 degrees independent of the ab. So it's kind of tight, but you can do it. So you can have him twisting all sorts of ways. All right, that will bring you down to the legs. Legs, there aren't as much motion in them as I would prefer, but you do get a little bit. You can kind of kick you. Yeah, come here, young whippersnapper. And then on the back, you do get a little bit back, like such. But where this is going to get your most motion is out to the side like that. So that is something. He does kind of have a thigh rotation left and right. Doesn't go all the way around. If you try, you'll pop it out of the socket. And that will bring you down to the double hinged knee, which is really good. So he can kick himself in the back. So that is awesome. I like the hinged knee. Coming down, he does not have a boot cut, but when you get to the foot, it is again on the ball hinge like the hand, and it can go around 360 degrees. And wherever you have the ball joint, you can go up or down or in and out. And he does have some toe articulation, which will bring up and down like such. So yeah, he is very articulated in the feet and in the hands. You just gotta mess with them and get them to where you want them. All right, and that is your Batman articulation. Moving on. And full comparison, here he is with a few other DC multiverse figures. You have Superman, Green Lantern, and Angry Flash, as it were. Now, okay, I admit that these don't really look good together because they're not really based on the Bruce Timm artwork that the animated series was designed off of, but in the multiverse line they did give us the animated Superman and the animated Flash, but I haven't picked those up, and this is what we got. So let's compare him with a few other different Batman from the multiverse line. And here we have some Batman comparisons. First off, you have the Justice Batman by Alex Ross. You have the Nightfall Batman. You have Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Batman. You have the Superman vs. Batman Frank Miller Batman. And then you had Todd McFarlane's special take on Batman from the multiverse. So they're not all from multiverse, but you do have a few in there. And this is a cool group of Batman, taking from different artists' styles and interpretations. So I think they all have something very unique to offer, and I think Batman has never looked better in any of these interpretations. All right, moving on. Now, when it comes to accessories, Batman comes with two alternate hands. The hands that he has equipped with are fisted hands, and they are really nice. They help him punch if he has some villains to face off against. And each of the alternate hands can hold one of the accessories. Now, you could try to get the accessories in the other hands, but I don't think it will work as well as the way I'm about to discuss it. But, you know, it's your toy. Do with it as you please. So the first alternate hand is going to be a right alternate weapon holding hand, and basically this is really nice. If I can zoom in here, it is molded and it has a trigger finger, and it also has the blue highlights for the cartoon animated series on there, but mostly it is all black. And it is interesting to note that when it comes to these hands on these first figures, it's not the hand pegging into the port as much it's pegging into the port that's sticking out of the wrist. So normally the hand would be attached to a peg and it would go into the wrist, but this, the peg is coming out of the wrist and it's kind of backwards. And I don't know, I think they didn't like that. I think they wanted to change the wrist design, because this was actually one of the earliest multiverse figures that McFarlane put out. But anyway, you just slide that on there, and then you have his finger trigger holding hand there. And what you do with that is you put in the grapple gun. Now the grapple gun is an interesting design. I'll lay Batman down for just a second. And this design, I believe, is a combination of both the animated and the new adventures of Batman. So this is really cool. You got like a double spiked hook coming out the top here, and you can see that it's open at the top and it comes down, and then you have the handhold right here with red buttons on each side. So that is a really neat design. This will fit right into his hand that has the trigger finger out, and it just slides in there. You may have to heat it up a little bit to get it in there, but it works really well, and you can see he's holding the grapnel. Only wish it could detach in some way, but it doesn't. Moving on to the second alternate hand, it is just an open hand, and you can slide into this hand the Batarang. Now the Batarang is just black, and it's just like a wing of a bat. Not a lot of design on it. It is a little thicker than what I'm kind of used to, but this is how they designed it, and it's kind of cool that you got the serrated edges on the bottom, and that will just slide right into his regular hand without the trigger finger sticking out. And yeah, there you go. And he could hold that really well and put it in all sorts of different positions where he's about to throw the batarangs. So that is going to be his alternate hands and his accessories. Moving on. And for the toy accessories, he comes with a collector's card. Very nice, almost animation cell of Batman flying through the city here. And it says Batman here. And on the back, you do get a little read-up of Batman. So I will zoom in real quick so we can take our time. You could pause the video to your heart's desire, read all of that, but we must be moving on and moving out. So interesting thing to know about this is, if you bought the signature edition of this figure, there were two editions. I got the standard, but there was a signature edition. This card would have been signed by Bruce Timm himself, and that would have been a unique little gift. But that edition costed $100, and it wasn't available in the store like I got this one tonight. So anyway, that is going to be your collector's card. Moving on. And the next toy accessory comes with is his standard DC figure stand, and it is round, it is black, it has DC on it, and it has a foot peg. We've seen them a million times, and there's nothing on the back, but it does give them a good bit of stability, especially when he's top heavy like this particular Batman is. But I can guarantee you that this is not the stand that is the selling point for this figure. So let's move on to that one. And here we have this awesome display piece. It is a single plastic platform with two buildings juxting up from beneath, and it has a lightning strip going all the way across to the top. And if we measure it from this far point here, because it is more of a diagonal like here to give your full length, it is 13 inches, and all the way to the top of this farthest lightning bolt point, it is 9 inches tall. So this is a pretty big display piece, and I love it. It is to mimic the building that we see in the very opening of Batman the Animated Series, and Batman is standing here and there's lightning behind him and the buildings in the background. So it is really nice, and it's just plastic, and you got mostly black plastic with a little darker gray for some windows on this building, and then you have blue right here for this one, and it is kind of molded in sections. So this is up, and then you can go to the top there, and it goes up, and then you got some side which is black to give it a little bit of depth. And the same thing with this building over here. It is just plastic and black here on the side, and then some gray. And coming around to the back of it, it is just basically hollow. There's nothing really there, so that is cool too. On the bottom, you just get some openness, and this is where the battery compartment is, and then you have the off and on switch. So if you put it on, the lights will stay on. If you put it on off, the lights won't stay on. And if you put it on try me, the lights will come on when you hit the button, and the activation button is right here on the front panel, and that is pretty neat. Oh, there is a tab right here for Batman to stand on, and then you have two light sources, one coming here and one coming out from the side here. And when you hit the button and the lights come on, you get a beautiful streak of blue lightning. So let me turn my display lights off because, well, it's not going to do very good with the lights on. So we'll turn this all the way off. It's nice and dark. Yeah, leave that one on. Nah, let's take it off. All right, so that's all dark and stuff. But once you hit the button, you get... Oh, that is so cool. So we'll hold the button down for just a minute, and you can see it is very pretty. You do have, you know, the buildings lit up in the background and the lightning bolt crashing through the sky based on the lights, you know, shining on it. So that gives it that nice white effect. But this is not the complete scene. Let's turn on a light or two. Let me get the Batman. And he will go very nicely onto this little platform here. And see, put him straight up. Oh, too much of a split there, Bats. All right, we'll put him there. He's standing. All right, so we got the Batman there. Push it back a little bit. All right, back off with the light. And we have... Da, 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 da. And that is really cool. You can see him backlit by that light. Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, so that is cool. That is the effect that they were going for. And then you can, like, turn on some light, I guess, to see what that looks like. Bring that light on. It's going to kill the blue light. So, let's try something smaller. Take this off. Turn on the small. See how that works. No, still killing it. So, yeah, I think the display is just going to look okay unless you have completely dark lights and then... you get the neat effect of Batman standing there all ominous in the lightning light. Alright, and that is going to be your cool lightning display stand. Moving on. And this has been the Target exclusive 30th anniversary Batman the Animated Series Batman figure. And after reviewing the figure, I think the figure is pretty good. It is a different paint job than the previous two that we saw released, only because of the blue highlights on the mask and the cape, the gloves, the shorts, and the boots. But I think that's enough to make it look more authentic to the animated series than the previous two releases. I still don't really like the dimensions of it. I think the legs are too small and the arms are too big. The chest is huge. Makes it a little bit top heavy, but then again, it's based on the designs of Bruce Timm in the cartoon, so I can't really fault it for looking as much like the cartoon as it can. So really, I have nothing to complain about. This particular one's paint is pretty good. I don't think it's as crisp as it could be on the face and on the bat symbol. I think there's some black outlining that could have been done better, but those are just nitpicks, and I can use a Sharpie and fix that up if I was so inclined to do so. But for the most part, the figure itself is good. The articulation of it, you can pretty much do anything you want to do with the figure. It can bend and twist and move, other than, you know, getting the legs up as high as Batman needs to if he needs to kick somebody in the face. But for the most part, in this particular set, this display, he's just going to be standing there. You could put the Batarang or the grapple in his hand if you wanted to, but I think just him standing there all ominous is going to be really cool. The base feature is pretty nice. The light up function is good, you know, if you have a dark enough room to see it in, but it pretty much has to be really dark to see the lightning flash. But we tried it And it was really neat when the room was completely dark. So it's cool for what it is. It's gimmicky. It's the 30th anniversary collectible. I figured people were going to buy this and not take it out of the box, just leave it on a shelf somewhere. But since I never had this figure to begin with, I thought I would take it out of the box and play with it. And after playing with it a little bit, I like it and have a better appreciation for it than I did when it was first released and I just looked at it in the box. So if you're looking for this guy and you didn't go to New York Comic-Con, which is where he was a shared exclusive with Target, and you could have picked him up there, you can find him on the Target shelves if you're lucky, and he goes from about $50, or you can find him online and he will probably go from 50, 75, 80, depending on where you get him. If you find one that's $100 and something, then the chances are you got the signature edition, and that's going to come with a card signed by Bruce Timm. And that's okay, but I've never really been that keen on signature editions. If I want something signed, I'll take it to the source. So that's going to be this guy. If you're looking for him, happy hunting. And as I close the review, I would like to end on a small tribute to the man that made this figure possible, the late Kevin Conroy.
Alfred, the city's safe.
Excellent work, sir. Gotham's villainous contingent has been brought to task yet again. You should be immensely proud of your achievements. The city is forever in your debt.
It's time for nightfall.
On June 19th, 1992, Warner Brothers rekindled Batmania by releasing Batman Returns in theaters. It was a huge success, but Warner Brothers wasn't finished with Batman yet. In September, they released what would become one of the most historic and groundbreaking Batman series ever, Batman, the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series was a clear departure from anything Warner Brothers had done with a Batman cartoon. It was stark contrast from the campy and goofy depictions of the animated Batman from years previous. Batman the Animated Series was dark and gritty. It handled mature themes and took Batman to a much darker place. And the fans loved it. With real comic book writers such as Bruce Timm and Paul Dini doing the scripts, it became the definitive Batman series. But was it just the new tone and the adult-themed storyline that shot the show into the limelight, or was it something else? Admittedly, the stories were top-notch, but they were just words on paper. In order to bring them to life, Warner Brothers needed the right person to say the lines, to understand the complexity of the one man who would carry the show. They needed to find the right Batman. After listening to hundreds of auditions, one man stepped from the shadows of the stage and blew the acting directors away with a take on Batman that was exactly what they were looking for. Kevin Conroy would be the new Batman. Having a fresh and unique take on the character was just one of the reasons he became a great voice actor. Another was his ability to diversify and play more than one character at a time. The animated series lasted for 5 great years with 109 episodes. During the series' run, Warner Brothers used Kevin to produce several video games such as Batman Vengeance and Rise of Sin Tzu. They also did feature animated films, most notably Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which was released in theaters in 1993 and is one of my personal favorites.
I couldn't save her, Alfred.
I don't think she wanted to be saved, sir. Vengeance blackens the soul, Bruce. I always feared you would become that which you fought against. You walk the edge of that abyss every night. But you haven't fallen in, and I thank heaven for that. But Andrea fell into that pit years ago. And no one, not even you, could have pulled her back.
I still remember how excited I was when Kevin signed my DVD. After the animated series, Kevin did Batman Beyond, where he mentored a new Batman as an aged Bruce Wayne. This series also got a feature-length film called Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. Justice League and Justice League Unlimited also featured Kevin as Batman, although his participation in these series was kind of limited and he didn't appear as much. It could be argued, though, that in the episode Epilogue, the Season 2 ender of Justice League Unlimited, the writers decided to give a satisfactory close to the entirety of Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond. It was one of the best Batman stories ever told, in my opinion.
When I was little, Cadmus used to make me play all kinds of games, but they weren't any fun either. They'd strap me into their machines and poke wires into my brain. Ace, can you move this object with your mind? Yeah, I can move it. They weren't really games, you know. They were training me, turning me into a weapon for justice, they said. They got their weapon. I got cheated out of my childhood.
I know what that's like.
You do, don't you? You don't have to answer. I read your mind. That's how I knew you weren't going to use Mrs. Waller's weapon on me.
No, I wasn't.
You were going to try and talk me into fixing what I've changed. Before I die.
Yes.
I'm dying very soon.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Could you stay with me? I'm scared.
He sat with her until her time came.
After the dust settled on the animated series, Kevin continued to do feature-length animated movies, and a few of my particular favorites were Gotham Knight, Justice League Doom.
My actions don't require any defense. In the same situation, I do it again.
Oh, come on!
As individuals, and even more so as a group, the Justice League is far too dangerous to lack a failsafe against any possible misuse of our power.
We use our power to protect the world. We always have.
And what if we ever used it for some other purpose? If you people can't see the potential danger of an out-of-control Justice League, I don't need to wait for a vote. I don't belong here. What do you want?
You made contingency plans to stop everybody in the League just in case any one of us ever went bad.
My contingencies were intended to immobilize, not kill.
But Savage came up with a plan to bury you.
I assume so. It wasn't one of mine. Was that it?
With all that talk about unchecked power, you're still so arrogant you didn't bother to come up with a plan to stop yourself.
I do have a plan. It's called the Justice League.
Just wanted to be sure.
What is it?
If the League ever did go over to the wrong side, I want there to be somebody I can trust to keep the planet safe. Even from me.
And The Killing Joke.
God damn it. Well, what are you waiting for? Kick the hell out of me and get your standing ovation. Come on!
No, not this time. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want either of us to end up killing the other. But we're running out of alternatives. Perhaps it all hinges on tonight. I don't know what it was that bent your life out of shape, but maybe I've been there too. Maybe we could work together. I could rehabilitate you. You don't need to be alone. We don't have to kill each other. Let me help you.
I'm sorry, but no. No. It's far too late for that.
You could also spend hours listening to Kevin's Batman voice as you played new games such as Injustice 1 and 2, DC Universe Online, and in my opinion, the ultimate trilogy of Batman adventure, the Arkham series. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City.
Every decision you've ever made ends with death and misery. People die. I stop you. you'll just break out and do it again.
Think of it as a running gag. No! Are you happy now?
Do you want to know something funny? Even after everything you've done, I would have saved you.
You know, that actually is pretty funny.
And Arkham Knight.
You're not playing at all.
No, I'm not. Not anymore.
And what's that supposed to mean?
It means this is the end, Selina. It means we can't. I can't.
I will see you again, right?
No one will. Gotham needs something more, something worse to defend her. She needs a new myth. A legend more powerful than I can be right now. A legend that can only rise from the ashes of the Batman.
Some things you can't do alone, Bruce.
And some things you have to.
If you've ever wanted to feel like Batman, the Arkham games were a total immersive experience, whether it was finding your way through the asylum, hiding in the shadows, soaring over the rooftops in the city, or driving the Batmobile in Arkham Knight. These were the best Batman games, and they were each brought to life by Kevin Conroy. Kevin continued to voice Batman in other series and games. He even had a live-action role in the 2019's Batwoman show as a broken Bruce Wayne. Although it didn't end well for him, Kevin's final Batman credit was this year, 2022, for the Warner Bros. Multiverses online game. In total, Kevin Conroy voiced Batman for a little over 30 years, doing cartoons, video games, and movies. If anyone ever asks me who my favorite Batman is, I'll always say Kevin Conroy. For me, he is the definitive Batman and always will be. He's who I hear in my head when I read my comics, and I'm sure I'm not alone.
You've been a good friend. The best I could ask for. You were there at the beginning. And now, you get to see how it ends.
On November 10th, 2022, Kevin Conroy passed away after battling intestinal cancer. He was 66 years old. In the coming days, I'm sure we'll see many tributes like this one, recalling the life of a great man and how he touched us all with just his voice. I'm very sad at the loss of such a great voice actor, but I am also so grateful for experiencing this treasure for 30 years. Thank you, Kevin. May you rest in peace, my Batman.